Hello, today is the 28th of March, and it is more specifically, and what we're working with is day 10 of Moon 2. And today is all about the inner journey, or the inner landscape, I should say. So the inner landscape, we are talking more about Dao Yin Qigong, something I know a fair amount about. My name's Ollie, this is Red Sun Horizons. I'm an Eastern Physiotherapy practitioner from the south of England, that's Southsea Portsmouth, UK. Using this as a guide still, the Lunar Tao by Deng Ming Dao. So today is day 10 of Moon 2. Talking about the inner landscape, so I'm going to be speed talking at you today because there's a lot. So we're going to be linking up between the difference between the chakra system and the acupoint system, or the similarities, and the differences. But because we are looking at the inner landscape, we are talking about the generation of qi or prana, or yang as well, all up the spine from the perineum, the root chakra, all the way up to the crown. Do 20, but is the Sahasrara chakra, the crown chakra, and meditations, and also breath work and movement and etc. All this kind of stuff that is used to do exactly that in either the more Indian-based Vedic type systems, or the more Chinese Zen Buddhism, Taoism, etc., or Mahayana systems. So, trying to keep all that in a very brief box so we can do this in under 10 minutes. So starting off with this, beginning at the bottom, climb a mountain path. Meet the sage at the peak and find that it is you. So find that you are the sage. So it is the path to enlightenment, not to knowledge or wisdom. It is path to enlightenment from the roots through to the crown. Something that is very prolific in Zen Buddhism. They believe meditation is the path, or the chosen path that for that system. I believe with the chakra systems, there used to be like from the roots to the sacral to the solar plexus, etc., all the way up to the crown. There were spiritual retreats or places like Mecca is to Judaism, that you would visit, and each chakra was affiliated with a spiritual place, and you were kind of like, you could effectively go there and visit those places, and then later on you can use the energy of your experiences at those places as a focal point for working on each chakra. Nowadays we tend to have all these colors that have been attributed, like red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and then you have differences. I prefer indigo, dark blue, and then purple, violet, but then other people say this is the purple and this is white, but etc. So it's not set in stone because it's something that was added many years later, most likely probably in the 70s, and the whole sort of flower power thing, when etc. But it's not, the whole color affiliation of the chakras is not original source information. Okay, so and the reason for that is because there is a lot of difference as well when you look at the color system from the chakra system. The color affiliation is very different to those same points, acupressure points. The ones that actually sit on certain meridians have very different color systems in the Chinese system. Okay, so an example of that being the Dumai, or Ren 1, the Renmai, the governing vessel which runs up, that is the perineum, Ren 1, and that is where the root chakra is seen to sit. Root chakra is affiliated with colour red, but there has no real affiliation or colour being on the Renmai. Maybe white you could attribute, but there is no real colour attribution. Attributed. There we go. Okay, so if we get to the Sahasrara, the Svatasthana, the sacral chakra, it's generally attributed to the colour orange. They've literally gone red, orange, yellow, green, blue, working through the rainbow. But orange, when you look at the I'll get back to what I was going to say. I was going to say two different sentences, but this is Qi Hai, so the sea of Qi. So it is affiliated more with the kidneys than anything. So you could attribute the colour blue to it. Literally just off of this line you have the kidney line. So literally if one is here, the other is like literally millimeters off. So the renmai, kidney line, and then the kidney line comes out and comes up here. So the Svatastana is attributed with the colour orange, and you can absolutely use that, and it does work and it helps because it's quite a joyous colour, and the Svatastana is all to do with joy. The antithesis of that is sadness, and that would be, it is very much a place where we store a lot of trauma and childhood trauma, etc., that kind of stuff. Okay, going up to the solar plexus, affiliated, so the Manipura, which is seen to be attributed to the element of fire in the chakra system, and is given the colour yellow. The element of fire is given the colour red in Chinese, and it's more to do with the heart. However, this point for the solar plexus is, effectively, it is Ren 12, it is the stomach meridian. So it's the stomach mu point, it's a front point for the stomach. It's not actually on the stomach meridian is down here. But it is also attributed to the colour yellow. And when you really, ultimately, when you look at all the chakra points, or the chakra wheels, if you take away the colours and the attributed elements with it, and just look at what that thing is for, what it is integrated with, so i.e. what organs and what glands it is affiliated with and integrated with, you'll find they're actually exactly the same as the acupressure points. And so when you look at the Manipura, the stomach control points in the acupuncture point, they are both to do with being centered. They're both to do with being confident and standing your ground and comfortable in your surroundings. So this this whole stomach thing is kind of a worry thing again. So if you're off center, you're worrying. So the center is attributed with the element of earth, and it's given the color yellow in TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. So very similar when you go down to, and also the pancreas and the spleen and all this kind of stuff are affiliated with the stomach. When you go back down to the Svatastana, the sacral chakra, or effectively Qi Hai, this whole area is to do with kidney. And both the chakra and that point are affiliated with the kidneys. Go down to the Manipura, which is the perineum, and this is all attributed to the adrenal glands. So, all very similar, going up to the heart, Anahata, so attributed to the colour red with Chinese medicine, attributed with the colour pink in the chakra system, but again that's an added thing, but also attributed to the colour green. So you can use either in the Vedic system, and ultimately you can use either in red, pink or green for this, because red is the colour of the heart, is the colour of the mind. Red is attributed to fire, because fire is yang, yang rises, water is blue, blue is yin, water is yin rather, yin descends. This is the thing in there. Okay, so lost my thread, but effectively you can use any of those three colours, because, and then you in a lot of meditation systems such as things like Mantak Chiyas, Inner Smile, and working with the organs, etc. When you focus on the heart, you can absolutely focus on the colour green rather than focus on red, because you don't want to add fire to fire, you want to calm fire. So you would focus on the colour green as you would with anything of the wood element like liver and gallbladder. Okay, so this is also the centre of your toroidal field, just for noteworthy. Okay, going up to the throat chakra, this is another Ren point. Again, you can needle this, but it's not, in TCM, in the Taoist system, they only really recognise the lower dantian, the middle dantian, and the upper dantian, which is the next one up, which is the ajna, which is a point called yin tang in TCM, but it's the third eye chakra. And it is, before I get to that, so yes, heart is related to the thymus and thyroid, thymus, and then the salivary glands and the thymus, and then the pituitary gland and the Again, there's some I've read different things, but some will say that the ajna is actually the pineal gland, and some will others say it was the pituitary gland, and then the crown is the other, filling in the gaps of those two. Ultimately, in this isn't, even though this sits on the Dumai, which comes all the way from the tip of the coccyx all the way around, all the way up the spine and round and into here, passed through this point and now to the nose and then down to the top of the upper gum. It's not actually considered part of the Dumai, even though it's on that line, but it is effectively yin tang. And yes, it can stimulate parts of the brain, and it is measured and known for stimulating serotonin. Okay, and then finally you get up to Sahasrara, or the crown chakra, which is Do 20, and this is the fontanelle, effectively the last part of the skull. When a baby is born, the skull is all in pieces to allow for easier transition through the birth canal, and then gradually all of the bits of skull kind of fuse together and form what we call these sutures. And then the final part to do that is this fontanelle at the top, which is Do 20, and is a meeting place of all yang, because yang rises and it all meets at this one point, and it is a point where you can encourage yang up. So when you've got look at things like prolapses from rectal to vaginal, etc., then you would firstly treat spleen as well, because that is what in TCM is all to do with like holding, but you also want to encourage things upwards, so you use Do 20. Do 20 is also a place of spiritual connection, much as is in the Sahasrara, the crown chakra system. So you would use that for someone who is just not feeling connected, etc. But ultimately, in both systems, this is what we're working on, is to get prana or chi and spinal fluid as well, and yang all to raise, but also yin to descend. So balance. Okay, so we're already at 10 minutes. No, we're over 10 minutes. We're at 12 minutes. So, okay, so finally the energy reaches the crown, where one discovers Lao Tzu. The wisdom that one reaches by this spiritual journey is one's own. So Taoists make no separation between the body and the mind. They are one. The body can be used to raise one's spirituality. The spirit can be used to heal the body. All is continuous. Absolutely. So yeah, there's endless stories of people, of mind over matter, the power of belief, all that kind of stuff. People have come back from like certain death and all that kind of stuff, and had all these. There's loads and loads of that you can look into. Obviously, just do a Google search, YouTube, whatever. So. The last bit, I'll read a bit from the Tao Te Ching. With meditations, we are well into the 13 minutes, so I have covered other bits of this, I think in earlier ones, in Moon 1, early on in that kind of thing, and looking at the 9-gate breath work. But if you can also go onto my Instagram page, which has a lot more detailed stuff of this, and that literally is Red Sun Horizons page on Instagram. But ultimately, there is lots of breath work, and look into Daoyin, look into Qigong, all this kind of stuff, and means you can do this, or look into any kind of yoga system that also works on this. So the only thing I was going to add, I think, was just to kind of say the difference between Daoyin, the Taoist Qigong, and more Qigong as a whole, which is generally more aligned with Buddhism, but is also technically an umbrella body, just meaning like a breath cultivation or breath work, etc. So a lot of Qigong has a lot of like static postures. So a lot of these kind of they will hold and then release, and then back to the next one and hold and release, etc. So it's looking at you know, but then Qigong is also can be martial. So you have things like steel wire, all these kind of movements, which are for learning to project Qi outwards for a martial purpose. But Daoyin is only concerned with health. So Daoyin has, and yes, what it was going back to here, using the body to control the mind. So the exact wording, the body can be used to raise one's spirituality as well. But yes, so there are still static points or static purposes in Daoyin, like this classically is called holding the ball, but is also called Lohan embracing tree. And that can be used in different ways as well. You can use that to work on, in Tai Chi, what they call Peng, which is the inner expansion of your own energy. So you are effectively trying to expand from Qi Hai or Svadhisthana area and Manipura area as well from here, and to expand your inner alchemy or your inner energy, and expand that out and through, and to make a connection between the fingers energetically. And this is a way of working on Peng. At the same time as sitting and exercising straight back, etc. From here you can also work on spinal. You can just focus on your spine and breathe up the spine and all that kind of stuff by using that 9 gates breath work, breathing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and up the spine. Put all of that together, and you can do that as well, and then use that constant energy to expand. You can also, the one I like to do as well, especially at the end of the day, just to kind of get yourself back into a parasympathetic state after work, and then and allow yourself to have some like a good, better work-life balance and to sleep better, is to not so much worry about the expansion, just worry about obviously partly the relaxation, everything should be switched off, but to focus on the heart meridian, which runs from the inside of the little finger down the palm, so heart 9, heart 8, heart 7, 6, 5, 4, and then there's a 3 just here on the inside of the medial epicondyle of the elbow, heart 2, and then heart 1, and then literally follow that line down into the heart itself, and just pull energy and have your mind focused on going inwards from there. That, along with by having a stance where your knees are effectively like shoulder width apart, feet facing forwards, bend your knees, you are also now working to an extent the kidney. So this heart 3 point is anatomically in alignment with kidney 10. The heart is the Shaoyin of the hand, the kidney is the Shaoyin of the foot. And there is this thing we talk about called the kidney-heart axis, or the heart-kidney axis. Heart is red, kidney is blue, somewhere in between you've got purple, and so Shen, the mind, kidney, Jing, or the body. In between you have spirit, so this is why, and that would be affiliated with the colour purple. And this is possibly why so many people are drawn, we are automatically drawn to the colour purple, really drawn to amethyst and all this kind of stuff. It's far more in alignment with soul progression, etc. Okay, so yes, those are different variations, and we are ready into the 15-minute mark. So, okay, so that is a few little things you can do, but before anything else, I'm just going to read one last bit from the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu, obviously. Okay, so failure is an opportunity. No, I wasn't going to read that one. I'm going to read this one. There we go. Start again. So nothing in the world is as soft and yielding as water. Yet for dissolving the hard and inflexible, nothing can surpass it. So the soft overcomes the hard, the gentle overcomes the rigid. Everyone knows this is true, but few can put it into practice. Therefore the master remains serene in the midst of sorrow. Evil cannot enter their heart because they have given up helping. He is people's greatest help. There you go, start again. Therefore the master remains serene in the midst of sorrow. Evil cannot enter his heart. Because he has given up helping, he is the people's greatest help. True words seem paradoxical. Yes, okay. So that kind of softness overcoming the hardness, etc., that kind of thing, is something that can be applied everywhere. So we are very much over time. We're nearly at 20 minutes. That is everything for today. So that was the inner landscape. Tomorrow is looking at the outer landscape, and how the Taoists work with the land, so etc. Okay, that is everything for today. I will see you tomorrow.